We still support the one China policy. We go there to acknowledge the status quo is what our policy is. There was nothing disruptive about that. It was only about saying China is one of the freest societies in the world. Don't take it from me. That's from Freedom House.
Let's talk a little bit.
Democracy, courageous people, and it's just, I don't know why it is, except there's some commercial interest who would like to diminish the relationship.
No.
I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be.
Welcome to the show. You're one-on-one with Wesley Sports Guy here on YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey, and online all the time at WesleySportsGuy.com. Make sure you bookmark that site if you want to get all the social media links. The podcast link conveniently located for you at WesleySportsGuy.com. If you like what you hear, leave a 5-star review at all your various podcast platforms. Try to say that 5 times fast. But you also get all my social media links, all conveniently located for you at WesleySportsGuy.com. The NFL season is just around the corner. You will be getting my preview for all 32 NFL teams, what my Super Bowl matchup is going to be. It should be coming shortly. It's probably going to drop officially Labor Day weekend at the latest, but I'm going to try to get it out there a little bit sooner, but bookmark WesleySportsGuy.com. Regardless, when it does get dropped, you will see it there first at that site. This is going to be a little bit different. As you can see, I'm going to be breaking down a little bit of a moment of an Angel game, and by the title of this video, this is basically my low point as an Angel fan. If you don't know, if you're new to this channel, I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell to get notified when all the latest videos are posted on this channel, whether you're tuning in at YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, or Odyssey. All those links are at WesleySportsGuy.com. But I've been a fan of the Angels since 1995, and that's a very odd year to become a fan of this franchise because that was a pretty low point in the franchise's history. You could also make the case that 1986 was a low point. You could also make the case that 2001 was a very low point, the year before they won a World Series. In 2002, the only World Series title in this franchise's history. But in terms of Artie Moreno, and I've made a previous video about the Angels and the state of the franchise with Artie Moreno as the owner. Going forward, this team is never going to win another World Series as long as he is the owner. I am absolutely of that belief. And after seeing, or not really watching this live, because I live in Washington and I'm blacked out from watching a game when they play the Mariners, whether in Anaheim, where they still play and they're called the LA Angels, or they're playing up in Seattle, I can't watch them play the Mariners live because I'm blacked out. Them's the rules, apparently. So you got to love those blackout rules. But I was made aware of this the day after this game. This game took place August 15th in Anaheim. As you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, it is tied at 2 between the Mariners and the Angels. This is the top of the 9th inning. Just getting underway. So I want to break down 3 things. Top of the 9th, the Angels ended up losing the game. I want to break down 3 things. So the first thing I want to show you is the home plate umpire, Laz Diaz. He is not the worst umpire, but my belief and opinion going forward with umpires, especially in the last couple seasons, robo umpires are coming. They're no longer going to be in charge of calling balls and strikes because they're awful. More awful than you can ever imagine when it comes to calling balls and strikes the way it's constructed right now. For whatever reason, Angel Hernandez is still an umpire, but that's not to talk about Angel Hernandez in this video. This is Laz Diaz, home plate umpire for this game. I want you to see in the course of this 9th inning, him calling a strike. And when he calls a strike, it's very pronounced. He does it with his arm raised up in front of him. So here's the pitch to the second batter in this inning, 1 out. You see how Laz Diaz immediately puts his arm straight up in front of himself and calls out a strike. That's what he's done the entire game. That's how he calls a strike. So he called that pitch a strike, which rightfully so was a strike. So long story short, this batter, with 1 out in the 9th inning, he eventually gets on base. Now with that batter getting on base, now he's over at first. Pinch hitting is Carlos Santana now for the Seattle Mariners. This at bat by Carlos Santana I will get to when it comes to Laz Diaz. I'll get to this in a moment. But watch what happens here on this first pitch to Carlos Santana. Watch what the catcher Max Stassi does for the Angels. I cannot believe what I saw here. It gets away. There's nobody calling out. I could play the audio, but nobody calls out to Stassi to say, don't throw it, because the runner wasn't going on the wild pitch, pass ball, whatever you want to call it. And so Stassi airmails it into right field. Seattle's kind of stunned that they got a runner in scoring position. It's a tie ball game, top of the ninth inning between the Angels and the Mariners. Runner wasn't even thinking about going, but it seemed to me nobody was yelling out to Stassi, don't throw it. No need to throw it. He's not running. And he knows that the runner is pretty speedy, Sam Haggerty. He can fly down the line. So he assumes he was going to run, but nobody calls out to say, no, don't throw it. Don't throw it. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out here. There's no communication going on in this kind of a ball game. Granted, the Angels are done. They're not making the playoffs. They're not making the postseason whatsoever. It's a tie ball game, ninth inning. This is a crucial point in the game where you got to be involved. You got to be paying attention to everything. That was the somewhat start of this inning. Lots of other stuff happened, but I'm only going to point out three things here in this video, in this breakdown. Here's the Santana at bat. So that was the first pitch. That was a ball. Clearly a ball. Santana didn't swing. Here comes the second pitch. Second pitch coming to Santana. Runner steals third. Did you see Las Diaz? Did you see what he did? He called it a strike. You can clearly see that the score here, or the count, is 1-1 now for the Mariner broadcast. It was the same for the Angel broadcast. I'm bringing the Mariner broadcast because I get the full picture of everything. But Las Diaz clearly called that a strike. Clearly. Stassi's still thinking about the airmail to right field. Haggerty, the very next pitch, decides to steal third base. Clearly he's in Stassi's head. But watch again on this replay. Diaz calls a strike. He puts his arm up. The reason why I'm so adamant about him calling a strike here is to figure out the rest of this at bat. Here's the 1-1. Called strike. Back-to-back called strikes. There you go. That's the second strike in this at bat. 1-2 now is the count. This is now the fourth pitch coming up. 1-2, low and in. Didn't swing, obviously. Now it's a 2-2 count. This is where it gets real interesting with the home plate umpire, Las Diaz. So now Santana's looking down at the third base coach, I assume. Las Diaz is pointing out to the coach and Santana, it's a 2-2 count. And Santana's giving him the weird look like, no, it's 3-1. And now the dugout's giving him the business, and Diaz is nodding his head saying, you're right. This is less than a 30-second conversation. Las Diaz changes the count to 3-1. The score still says 2-2 at the bottom right for the count. 2-2 for the Mariner broadcast. The Angel broadcast still had it as 2-2. The Mariners changed theirs now to 3-1. Agreeing with Las Diaz, 3-1 count. You clearly called it a strike on the first or second pitch of this at bat. Of course, it's now down and in, ball 4. Watch what Phil Nevin does for the Angels interim manager after this sequence. There's nothing coming from Stassi, the catcher, nothing coming from Luke, nothing coming from the Angels dugout. It's all the Mariners saying, no, you're wrong. It's not 2-2. It's 3-1. And Diaz agrees. Less than a 30-second conversation. Watch what Phil Nevin and this facial expression he gives. Can you look at that facial expression? Tell me, as an Angel fan, that you don't give a shit. By that facial expression, you're immediately dumbfounded that the catcher airmailed to throw into right field. Granted, no runs had scored as of yet in this crazy inning. Not a single run. But the look on your interim manager's face right there tells me all I need to know. You've given up. A run hasn't even scored yet. You do have an out. You have a chance of getting an inning-ending double play here, and that's the look on your interim manager's face. Nobody else in that dugout is paying attention to the umpire and his count, and nobody else apparently cares to try to verify anything. They're just like, all right, yeah, he must have screwed up the count at some point. He clearly called a strike when Haggerty stole third base. Diaz put up his arm, called it a strike. The very next pitch, arm up, called it a strike. Unbelievable. Robo umpires are coming, and they're coming very soon. So the third thing I'm going to break down in this at-bat is the very next batter, superstar Julio Rodriguez, now rookie, probably AL Rookie of the Year for the American League representing the Seattle Mariners. He's up to bat now with 2 guys on, with 1 out. It's a 2-0 count. And here comes the next pitch to Julio Rodriguez. Watch how this sequence plays out. So Rodriguez is thinking, I'm going to get a good pitch. Hits it squarely right off the glove of Rengifo at second. Right play here in this situation is to go home. Look at what Stassi did there in throwing the ball too soon with nobody covering home plate, and then a run scores. Go ahead run. And then there's the look on Phil Nevin's face. But let's look at that again. Rewind. It should have been caught. Okay, that thing was screaming. Great heads-up play to throw home. What the hell were you doing there, Stassi? There's nobody communicating with the sound on in this clip. There's nobody communicating to anybody that I could tell from the Angels' defensive side of things to say, hey, no one's covering home, just take him all the way back to third. And if you got him close enough to third, then you throw it to the person covering third base to tag him. But again, you got to watch that sequence live again to understand what's going on. So the runner's going to second, no big deal. Here comes the guy at third. No, you gotta not throw it in that situation. Stassi, complete unawareness. Nobody's communicating. This team is just embarrassing to watch. Absolutely embarrassing to watch. And as I said in the previous video, about a month back now, this starts and stops with Artie Moreno. You look at that man, Phil Nevin, should never get another managing job again. He could be a bench coach, third base coach. I don't give a shit. He's not a manager. If you're going to manage, you go back to the minor leagues and hone your craft, because this is just ridiculous. This whole sequence of events. Take out what Las Diaz did. No run had scored, but the look on this man's face and the attitude of the players on the field in this sequence of events tells me all I need to know about the state of the Angels. It is an embarrassing franchise. Artie Moreno, you will never win as long as you own this team. You've failed. Failed. And the only way that's going to happen is if you step completely away from any baseball operations, as long as you are the owner, or sell the frickin' team. But you need to step away from the baseball aspect of things. Focus on something else that you're more in tune with, because you don't know what the hell you're doing in the baseball side of things. This is embarrassing. This is a travesty. And have fun watching Shohei Ohtani for the rest of this year and half of next season, because if the Angels aren't playing any better than the way they are right now, Ohtani's walking at the end of next year, or they're going to end up trading him before the trade deadline. Or they trade him in the offseason. Either way, enjoy Ohtani while you have him, because he's not sticking around for the long haul, the way things are constructed as of right now. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell below to get notified when all the latest videos are posted on this channel, whether it be at YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, or Odyssey. Bookmark westofsportsguy.com for the podcast link, all my social media links. The football preview will be coming down the pipe shortly. You'll be the first to know that it's there when you bookmark westofsportsguy.com. So long, and I will see you next time.